Okay, we'll get the meeting started. So I'm going to welcome everybody to the Montclair City Council meeting. I think this is a very special occasion this evening as we celebrate our colleague's her 6-year anniversary on this council, as she will be leaving us, and also we'll be celebrating retirement of one of our employees this evening, along with the holiday decoration program. So we're going to begin with the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance, and I'm going to ask the city clerk to announce those two individuals.
Tonight's invocation will be led by Police Chaplain Vicki Brobeck, and the Pledge of Allegiance will be led by Councilmember Lopez.
Please stand.
Good evening. Before we begin, on behalf of the Montclair Police Department and the Montclair Police Chaplains, we want to take a moment to acknowledge Denise Johnson for her years of service to the Montclair community. She has always carried a concern for our police department that it would be strong and vital to our community. We want to convey our appreciation for your heartfelt service. You have been present to make Montclair a better place to live and to work. It has not gone unnoticed. May your caring and positive influence continue in the city no matter what role you find yourself in. You do what you do because of who you are. On a personal note, I'm glad to call you friend, and you will always have my support. Let us pray. Father God, creator of the universe, we invite your presence into our community. We ask that your presence push back darkness. May your great love be encountered at a heart level, and may you, the God of all hope, invade our reality. Let your kingdom come. We ask you to grant wisdom and grace to each person present and especially to each council member. In the mighty name of Jesus, amen.
Amen.
Mr. Mayor, I would like to hand the duty of reciting the pledge to Mayor Pro Tem Johnson.
Thank you, Councilman Lopez. Please place your right hand over your heart and say, as follow with me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Great, thank you. And now we will take roll call of the city council.
All right, Councilmember Lopez.
I'm here.
Councilmember Martinez. Here. Councilmember Rue.
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Johnson.
I'm here.
And Mayor Dutre.
Present. Thank you. So now we get a chance to do the 3 presentations. And the first presentation is to really recognize the spirit of the holidays that are upon us right now. And before that, I just want to say on behalf of myself, my wife, Ann, and our family, we want to wish everybody in the audience and your families a Merry Christmas and a Happy Holidays, Happy New Year's, Happy Hanukkah. This is a good time for you to not just go out and shop and buy stuff, but really spend time with those you love. Seriously, this is a time you spend time with the persons you love. And obviously, as far as us Christians, or those who are Christians, it's also just to celebrate the birth of Jesus Christ. So I'm going to start this special presentation as you recognize 3 families who have won our annual holiday home decoration contest. So at this time, I'm going to ask that the chairperson of the Community Activities Commission, Richard Escalante, and he's going to tell us about all these 3 winners. So with that, I'm going to ask my council colleagues, please join me here in the bottom.
As the chairperson of the Montclair Community Activities Commissions, it gives me great pleasure to announce the winners of the City of Montclair's 26th Annual Holiday Home Decoration Contest. There's always many outstanding nominations. And again, this year's, with no exceptions, as always, the judging was very difficult. A total of 18 nominations were received this year. The commission tries to give everyone an opportunity to be selected. Therefore, past winners are ineligible for 3 years. On December 11th, the CAC drove throughout the Montclair and judged every entry. We applaud everyone for doing an excellent job in enhancing our neighborhoods during the holiday season. After I read a brief description of each home and show a PowerPoint presentation, I will ask that the winners come forward to be presented with a framed award certificate and a gift card that they chose to a store or restaurant in Montclair. Let's begin. The home of the Rodriguez family, located on 5045 Kingsley Street, shines magically brighter than the rest with an array of decorations for visitors of all ages. Lights cover the entire home and all plants in the yard. All guests are warmly greeted by a bear soldier drumming to the holiday music. To the right, we have a beautiful lit three-tier ornament, which is paired with a fountain covered with icicles surrounding the edges, all while Minnie, welcome guests throughout the yard, framed with large candy canes on the side of the yard. Nestled in the back is a golden arch with a nativity scene with reindeers along with Disney characters like Mickey, Minnie, Donald, and a few forest creatures roaming this display. The roof is completely engulfed in striking lights, which helps Santas find the home, all while their garage doors has a display of Christmas lights showcasing a sleigh and a Christmas tree. I'd like the Rodriguez family to please come forward to accept the Christmas Magic Award.
Picture of you. Give you a plaque. 1, 2, 3. All right. Behind the plaque, there's an envelope. That's the goal. That's the surprise. All right. Thank you. Thank you very much.
I thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. A house that truly stands out in the Murray family home, located on 9015 Helena Avenue. When driving up the street, you are greeted with a well-orchestrated, magical holiday show and Mickey, Donald, and Minnie in the festive gear in the driveway. Sneaking around the door is an elusive Mr. Grinch appearing throughout the display. This home brings Disney to its front yard, and both animated and musical elements all sing to the holiday music, allowing guests to be part of the display. In the yard, joyful Disney characters such as Mickey, Minnie, Winnie the Pooh, and some festive holiday pigs greet you. On the roof, you will find elements from Disney's Small World Wide, filled with the festive design and clocks ticking to the music around the cul-de-sac. We have Santa's reindeers reading for fight and a family snowman welcoming families while Santa waves proudly as the guests pull up to view the scene. Their memorizing 17-foot LED Christmas tree is designed with pixels to be displayed, holiday graphics, and capture the audience. I'd like to invite the Murray family to please come forward to accept the Magic Musical Light Award. Thank you, thank you. Yours, Murray. Thank you, Mr. Murray. Always a pleasure. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Finally, visitors are greeted with bright lights and friendly faces at the Polanco family home on 9091 Ramona Avenue. Bright white lights surround the desert-like oasis garden bringing this landscape to life at night, illuminating the entire home from ground up. A giant friendly gingerbread man stands tall, welcoming all guests from the side house. Two snowmen sit on top and the roof, waving at friendly guests. Reindeers dance around the light of the circle. Santa can be found just below them at the ground level, posing with the Merry Christmas sign, which represents a lake with a small, colorful fountain light display. Throughout the yard, you will find beautifully lit bushes, making this such a pleasant holiday display, which is also powered by solar energy. I'd like the Polanco family to please come forward to accept the Bright Lights of Christmas Award. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. And solar's in. Congratulations to all the winners. Members of all the communities are encouraged to view all these homes. A list of the winners is available this evening and will be available this week at the City Hall and at the city's website and Facebook page. Please drive to view the beautiful decorations and holiday spirits exhibiting by the residents of Montclair. Thank you, and this concludes our presentation, Mayor.
Thank you very much. On behalf of the City Council, congratulations to all three households. And obviously, you go out and make your way to make Montclair beautiful. And we want to recognize the Community Activities Commission, the 7 members who are here in the audience, and for their work to go out and to select the honorees tonight. So thank you very much, Community Activities Commission. The second presentation is I'm going to recognize Fire Chief David Poole. David, come on up. Drop something. This was actually prepared by the city manager at Star. And if you know anything about the city manager, he likes to make things long. All right? Nevertheless, Fire Chief David Poole started his career with the Montclair Fire Department as a reserve firefighter in December of 1989. In April 1992, David was hired as a full-time firefighter. In 2002, he was promoted to fire engineer, followed by a 2009 promotion to fire captain. And then in 2013, David was appointed battalion chief, followed by appointment to deputy fire chief that occurred in 2021. So the pinnacle of David's career, according to the city manager, came in July of 2023. We became the fire chief. Is that true? Is that the pinnacle of your career?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Throughout his career, David integrated himself deeply into the core qualities of the fire service, distinguished himself among his co-workers, served as an active agent in addressing fire and medical emergency-related issues in the community and in the state fire service industry. David has also functioned as a department leader in advancing training and representing the Montclair Fire Department with this service on a number of specialty teams, including the following. From early in his career, David distinguished himself as one of Montclair Department's original member of its urban search and rescue team. Wow. David served as a training committee chairman. David served as an instructor for the fire department's swift water rescue and rapid intervention tactics team. It's a lot of words there, but that sounds very impressive. David provided instructions on the wildlife fire training and served on over 20 years of wildland fire assignments throughout his career as a member of the city's strike team. On strike teams, David also served as strike team leader. David has represented the Montclair Fire Department on the West End Hazardous Materials team and continues to maintain certification as the Montclair Fire Department's Hazardous Materials Specialist. David has served as a team leader in writing and implementing promotional examinations for all ranks in the Montclair Fire Department. It is evident that David's career has been exemplary, and his promotion to the Montclair Fire Chief obviously well-deserved. David clearly left his mark on the Montclair Fire Department in nearly every functional capacity, has pioneered the scope and functional capacity for a number of specialty teams, and has contributed to the fiscal improvements of the Montclair Fire Department by committing his time and energy to a variety of construction projects, including his most recent efforts to assist with and oversee improvements and remodels to stations 151 and 152. When named Montclair Fire Chief, David worked closely with the city manager Starr to transition away from the previous unified command management structure under the public safety director and worked towards implementing the city manager's directives to hire additional personnel and acquire new rolling stock, including the fire engine, which we still haven't gotten yet.
It's coming.
It's coming, all right. The tiller truck and the rescue squad. David holds a Bachelor of Science degree from Cal Poly Pomona, where he was a member of the 1980 National Championship Baseball team. Congratulations. Wow, that's pretty impressive. David has been married to his wife, Robin, for 41 years. Let's recognize Robin. There she is, Montclair High School graduate. And obviously, they have raised two children, John and Faith, and one granddaughter, Delia. Excuse me. Sorry, Delia. David's and Robin's son, John, passed away in 2012 at the age of 17. In retirement, David is still laying out his plans. He knows for certain, however, that he will be committing a significant share of his time to help in raising of his granddaughter. Wow. So David, let's do this first. Let's come over here, and then if you want to say some words afterwards, well, let's take a picture with the city council, and I got a certificate to give you. Don't be shy. And then I don't know if your wife wants to join us. You want to join us? No, I just think. Okay. All right. All right. So Dave, on behalf of this council of the city of Montclair, thank you for all the many years of service here in the city. Not only to make the fire department great, but also make the city great. Thank you. Also have a presentation from. Yeah, a representative from the Senator Ruben. Go ahead, sorry.
Thank you. I'm here representing Senator Susan Rubio, and I just want to congratulate you on behalf of the California Senate for your outstanding 34 years of service. As you could tell from the biography of everything you've done so far, you know, it's not easy to sum up. That's an incredible commitment and show of leadership and dedication to our residents. So we just want you to know your legacy and contributions to our residents will always be remembered, and we wish you the best on as you embark on your next journey, and congratulations. Ready? Over here?
Right here. 1, 2, 3.
It's all yours now.
On the mic.
Does anybody need to take a break first before I start talking? Now, God has truly blessed me with a wonderful career here with the fire department in the city of Montclair. Over these years, I've got to work with so many wonderful people, staff, firefighters, my current staff at the fire department, and I wouldn't be where I am today if it wasn't for their help, because we work as a team. And as my time here as a fire chief, I've got to work with the staff here and the council and got to know people. And those are the things I will miss the most. The friendships, the acquaintances, just being able to work together, have fun, and serve the city of Montclair. Thank you very much for everything.
Okay, I'll start this on this side. So I'm going to ask Mayor Pro Tem. I want to ask Mayor Pro Tem Johnson, please join me. I've known Denise, Mayor Pro Tem Johnson, since the early 1980s, and in that time she served in many capacities here in Montclair. I think when you first got involved in Montclair, I think, Marcia, you had some type of community event. We were trying to get residents together, and Denise came to that, and from that she started her involvement in the city. And I know she started with Neighborhood Partnership Montclair, which you and I serve on the board, served for several years. And then you became a member of the Montclair Community Action Committee at the time, was not a commission. And then later on became a member of the Montclair Planning Commission, where you also serve as the chairperson of that commission. When she decided to retire, I think Warren retired first, am I correct? And you kind of said, that's not fair. If he's going to retire, then I'm going to retire. And I think you told me when you retired, you came home, sat down, and sat on the couch, watched TV, and then I got old real quick. So she decided to get more involved in the city of Montclair. I know she got involved in the Montclair Chamber of Commerce. She got involved in the Montclair Women's Club and also the Soteropoulos International here in Montclair. I always felt that Denise would be a very good city council member. She has the intelligence, the care of the city, the knowledge of the people in the city. And I think in her 6 years, she provided such positive leadership on this council, and that shaped many important decisions that we made here at this dais. Her smile, her integrity, her positive attitudes, and really her caring attitude as well are attributes that the Montclair public and this council deserve. I'm going to miss Denise. Obviously, she's not going anywhere. She's told me that she plans on still being involved in Montclair. She knows where to find me. She knows where to find the rest of the city council. She has all of her phone numbers on speed dial, and but she's going to be an asset on the council that I consider to be greatly missed for myself. So Denise, I want to say thank you for the service that you've provided on this city council, and really everything you've done for the community of Montclair. And I really want to say this: may God bless you, and may God bless your precious family. So let's maybe Bill, when you present it. On behalf of the City Council, I'm going to present you the certificate. And signed by myself and the entire City Council and the entire staff here at Montclair. Thank you again for your 6 years. Thank you very much.
The city of Montclair, we'd like to present you with our city logo. And in commemoration of your service to the city, 6 years as a council member, 2 years as mayor pro tem, and for what you've done for your guidance and for your dedication to the city. Thank you.
Well, hold on. So if you guys want to get seated, Denise, you can't get seated, but the rest. So, all right, we got some more presentations, so come over here, Denise, don't go too far away. Let me get my notes, sorry. Okay. Members of our legislators, someone asked for first Sophia from Congressman Norma Torres' office. And come on up here, Denise, right to the podium.
Hi, Mayor Pro Tem, and good evening, everybody. It's an honor to represent Congresswoman Norma Torres, who represents the city of Montclair in Washington, D.C. here today, and to present this very special Congressional Certificate of Recognition. To know the Mayor Pro Tem is to know that she truly loves the city of Montclair, and she serves it in more ways than one. Mayor Pro Tem, thank you so much, and please accept this certificate as a thank you from the Congresswoman for your 6 years of dedicated public service to the city of Montclair. Thank you for your exceptional leadership, unwavering dedication, and tireless efforts to improve the lives of local residents, and your contributions to the continued growth and development of our community. Congratulations on your accomplishments, and best wishes for your future endeavors.
Well, thank you. Next, we have Nia from Senator Susan Rubio. See what happens when you have a script? I can say better. Come on over. Don't go too far.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem. On behalf of the California Senate, it is my honor to recognize your outstanding 6 years of leadership and dedicated service to the city and residents of the city of Montclair. As Mayor Pro Tem, you have exemplified unwavering devotion to this community and have served it with integrity and vision. We are grateful to have you and have been able to work with you. I know you've supported our events and came and volunteered for our wing seminar to mentor young girls. And I think you're an incredible leader and example for others. And it is with great respect and admiration that I commend your contributions to our shared community. Your legacy is one of honor and community pride, so we just want to congratulate you on behalf of the California Senate.
Okay. Next, we have Roxana Garcia from Assembly Member Michelle Rodriguez, our newest Assembly member.
Good evening. My name is Roxana Gracia, and I'm the District Director for Assemblymember Michelle Rodriguez. I didn't get the pleasure of meeting you, but from what I've heard tonight, I'm truly impressed and motivated and inspired by your service to the city of Montclair. I was born in the city of Montclair and attended Ontario Montclair schools, so I'm very proud to be from the city, and I'm really happy to be here tonight to provide for you this certificate of recognition for the work that you've done. On behalf of the 53rd Assembly District, thank you for your dedicated service to the residents of the city of Montclair as Mayor Pro Tem. Your leadership, commitment to public service, and efforts to improve the community have made a lasting impact. We extend our gratitude for your hard work and wish you continued success in your future endeavors. Thank you so much for your hard work.
Thank you. And then we also have Ruby Long from Supervisor Kurt Hagen's office. Is Ruby here?
Yep.
There she is.
Good evening, everyone. Once again, Ruby Long from Supervisor Kurt Hagman's office. First of all, Supervisor Hagman sends his well wishes, and he's not saying farewell. Our office is not saying farewell. You know, you're a huge part of our office. We see you as a friend, we support you so much, and we're going to continue to support you through anything. And our doors are always open for you. And so Supervisor Hagman deeply appreciates and commends you for your dedicated service and leadership as a council member for the city of Montclair from 2020 to 2024, as well as your role as Mayor Pro Tem from 2022 to 2024. Your unwavering commitment to serving the community has been invaluable and is truly appreciated. And on a personal note, you know, I was gonna say that. Yeah. So my first event was at the Montclair Mall, and I was so nervous. And right away, you took me under your wing. You made me feel so comfortable. I just felt such a connection right away. And if I didn't know that I was gonna see you again, I'd be in tears right now. That's all I have to say. So I always say, I love the city of Montclair. I love what I do, and you're a huge, huge reason. So thank you. You know, we're always here for you no matter what. Appreciate you so much.
Okay, at this time, I believe the Montclair Women's Club and Councilmember Martinez, I believe, are you the president of the club as well? She will make a presentation. I'm not sure if anybody else has a presentation that they'd like to make. Anybody else in the audience? Okay.
Well, this is a mistake giving me the microphone, but I'm going to take advantage of it. So, Mayor Pro Tem Johnson, you have served on the council for almost 6 years, and we all know that since 2019, a lot has happened. But, you know, just to name some of the positive things that have happened, we've had incredible development in the city of Montclair. The Metro has approved $798 million in funding to extend the Gold or A line to Montclair. The Dodgers won the World Series twice. You know, and in those 6 years, you have been such a mentor and a friend to me. You've served on the Women's Club in multiple different roles, including as the president. You are such a hard worker. You've been the chair of the Public Works Committee, you know, and I've seen you and I've looked to you for guidance in so many different roles. I've always been able to count on you to attend any event with me, so long as it is not on the top of a mountain. And I really have appreciated how you have gone outside of your comfort zone to attend even events outside of the city with me. You know, I've wanted to attend those, and I've really, really appreciated working with you the last 5 years at least that I've sat beside you. And, you know, like everyone said before me, we know that you're going to remain in the community and as a friend, as a mentor and a colleague, and I take so much comfort in knowing that I know where you live. So with that said, the Women's Club of Montclair would like to present to you the certificate of recognition for, with admiration and gratitude for your 6 years of dedicated service to the community on Montclair City Council. Thank you.
And before we have Denise, Mayor Pro Tem Johnson say something, any of the council colleagues haven't spoke, like to say something?
So we got elected together in 2020, and before I took my seat, I asked if you'd be willing to do lunch. So we met at, I think it was actually this time of year, because I remember we met at Lazy Dog, and the fireplaces were on. We actually sat by the fireplace. It was pretty cool. And there was one thing that you had said to me. You said, I'm looking forward to the many colored ties and your color creations every council meeting. So I haven't forgotten that, because every time I pulled out a suit or a combo, I was like, I wonder if this would impress Denise or if I would get a comment. Now, the tie that I did wear, I think it was at one of the events, and I remember the tie, I still have it. It was yellow in color with the design. One thing about me is I actually absurdly own like 300 to 400 ties. No lie. There's even some in bins I haven't touched in a while. But I have a habit of, if anybody says they like my tie, I'll give it to them right off my neck. Here you go, it's yours. So I said, do you think Warren would like that tie? And she's, oh, no, 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 no. Warren does not wear ties. So I tried, Warren. I tried to get you a free tie, but she said, no, 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 no. But I haven't forgotten that. And if there's one thing in serving with you in these 4 years that I remember most, it was your best word of advice. And that is to never let anyone get under your skin, to be calm, cool, collect, because that too will pass. This too will pass. And the last conversation we had was in the thick of the election, about 2 weeks before the election, at the Seroptimist event. And we had a heart-to-heart, and I won't go into all the detail, but you then said too that no matter what amount of energy and years of service we put in, life goes on, and there is still greater opportunities at the end of the road. And I hadn't forgotten about that, because I understood before the election there was a chance that I may not have made it, and I was perhaps in the sunset of my political life. But I remembered that, because I thought, in the grand scheme of things, what matters most is what you've invested, what you've given back, things that will be tested by fire, and they'll still remain. And I thank you for that. So it's been a pleasure working with you.
I'll go first. Denise, when I was first elected to the city council, I left a vacancy on the planning commission, and you filled that vacancy on the planning commission. And so you were involved in a lot of the planning that's gone on to get the city here. And then 6 years ago, there was a vacancy on the council, so you were appointed to that. And then 2 years later, you won the election to city council, where you've been until tonight. And you've been very involved in the city. You've done a lot. You've had involvement in the chamber. You've had involvement in the women's club, the Seroptimist. I know the casino night. We've all worked the casino night together, doing a lot of that. And so you've been very, very involved in the city. I didn't know I'd be saying anything tonight, so I just thought in my head, there is a poet, Edwin Markham, and he once wrote, "There's a destiny that makes us brothers. None walks their way alone. All that we send into the lives of others comes back into our own." So may good things always come into your life. May it always follow you. And I know you want some time with your grandchildren. That's what I heard you saying tonight out there. So enjoy that time, because they're here, and tomorrow they're graduating college. And it goes like that. I wasn't pushing it too far out yet. But no, enjoy that time. You've earned it, and I know you'll continue to be involved in the city. Thank you.
One more. Does anybody in the family want to say anything? Warren, do you want to get up and say something? Anybody in the family? Just before you're here, before Mrs. Mayor Pro Tem speaks.
I want to thank everyone for coming out this evening. My wife has worked very hard. There's a lot of things you probably don't know behind the scenes, but I will say this. She's probably one of the hardest working people that you'll ever know. As she was saying about spinning plates, that's what we do. We spin plates. I'm so proud of her from where she came from to where she is today. We are so happy that God's plan is working out as it should. To the city of Montclair, good luck to you. Each and every one. Xavier, Ben, Carissa, and of course, Bill. Hey, you guys take care. She will be seeing you, but I'm gonna try my best to keep us on the move. Because at this point in our lives, she deserves a lot. And working doesn't necessarily have to be the plan. So we have plenty of plans. We're gonna plan on living life right now. And to them grandbabies back there, we plan on seeing them a lot. It's Ann, our kids, our in-laws over there, Jay and Debbie, our travel partners. This is a great time for us. I'm proud of you, babe. Thank you for all you've done for this city. I love you. Thank you.
This time, it's my pleasure to give you Mayor Pro Tem Johnson.
Okay, those of you who don't know, I come from incredibly humble beginnings. And to see this outpouring of love from all of you is touching my heart. I'm really trying hard to make sure I don't cry till I get home. But thank you. But please know, you've heard me say a little earlier today, I'm not going anywhere. I'm gonna live in the same house. Thank you, husband, for bringing me to that house where we have lived for 33 years. And thank you, Lori, for selling it to us. And so I'll still be around, but there's some other things I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go to line dance class and to piano class and to aerobics class. And then I'm gonna go with my girlfriends and we're gonna have brunch and drink mimosas. And then I'm gonna take naps, lots and lots of naps. It's gonna be a fantastic life, but I'll still be around. I'll still be serving this community. Probably the last time I will serve this community is the day before my funeral. So thank you all for being here. I'll be around. I appreciate each and every one of you, and thank you again for your outpouring of support.
Paul, you have some ideas what to do in retirement now? Did Denise give you some ideas, the Mayor Pro Tem? I'm going to talk to her husband. Okay, go talk to her husband. You know, the incredible this woman is, when I told her it wasn't fair to what happened to her, and she said, fair? You know what the fair is? It's that thing that takes place in May in Pomona every year. That's what fair is. So I always remember that, but she's an incredible woman, and yeah, I want to miss her up here. So, about 5-10 minute break. There's still more cake and food out there, I think, and that gives you a chance to spend some time with your family and your friends. Okay? All right, so we'll resume in about 5-10 minutes. Thank you. We're going to resume the city council meeting, and at this time, we're going to go to public comment. This is an opportunity for members of the public that wish to speak on any item that's either on the agenda under the consent calendar or the business portion, or if any item is not on the agenda, you'll have 5 minutes. If you wish to speak on the public hearing items, we'll take that as a separate public comment. And at this time, I'm going to ask the city clerk if she has any speakers.
I have 3 speaker cards, and the first one is Philip Costas.
Okay, come on up. And I believe you say you have a recording you have?
Yeah, that'll be
Okay,
later.
all right.
Yeah, well, good evening, City Council and members of the community. My name is Philip Costas. I've been a special ed teacher for 27 years. I have 2 teenagers who go to a local high school, and I'm all about anti-wokeness, pro-family. There are only 2 genders, and I speak truth at all times. I don't play politics. I plan on running for either council or school board meeting someday, but I'm not sure. I'm going to see where the Lord leads. The reason why I'm here is because I got this mailer, I don't know, about a month ago or so, and it told me about a rat. And this rat's name is Ben Lopez, and he's being sued, and we need to vote the rat out and everything. I just want you to know I voted the rat in because he stands for truth. And sometimes people hate what is good and love what is evil. And Ben Lopez loves what is good, and he hates what is evil. And I stand by that. And I stand on the Word of God. And I think as citizens that we should stand on the Word of God and not be ashamed and not try to step on people's, not worry that we're going to step on toes, because it's truth that sets us free. I'm sorry?
Excuse me, sir. Can you
Did he
please
have a
address the
comment?
city council? Let's not have any outbursts in the audience, please.
Okay, so having said that, I think my friend Donald can best sum it up.
The left-wing gender insanity being pushed on our children is an act of child abuse. Very simple. Here's my plan to stop the chemical, physical, and emotional mutilation of our youth. On day 1, I will revoke Joe Biden's cruel policies on so-called gender-affirming care. Ridiculous. A process that includes giving kids puberty blockers, mutating their physical appearance, and ultimately performing surgery on minor children. Can you believe this? I will sign a new executive order instructing every federal agency to cease all programs that promote the concept of sex and gender transition at any age. I will then ask Congress to permanently stop federal taxpayer dollars from being used to promote or pay for these procedures and pass a law prohibiting child sexual mutilation in all 50 states. It'll go very quickly. I will declare that any hospital or healthcare provider that participates in the chemical or physical mutilation of minor youth will no longer meet federal health and safety standards for Medicaid and Medicare and will be terminated from the program immediately. Furthermore, I will support the creation of a private right of action for victims to sue doctors who have unforgivably performed these procedures on minor children. The Department of Justice will investigate Big Pharma and the big hospital networks to determine whether they have deliberately covered up horrific long-term side effects of sex transitions in order to get rich at the expense of vulnerable patients, in this case, very vulnerable. We will also investigate whether Big Pharma or others have illegally marketed hormones and puberty blockers, which are in no way licensed or approved for this use. My Department of Education will inform states and school districts that if any teacher or school official suggests to a child that they could be trapped in the wrong body, they will be faced with severe consequences, including potential civil rights violations for sex discrimination and the elimination of federal funding. As part of our new credentialing body for teachers, we will promote positive education about the nuclear family, the roles of mothers and fathers, and celebrating rather than erasing the things that make men and women different and unique. I will ask Congress to pass a bill establishing that the only genders recognized by the United States government are male and female, and they are assigned at birth. The bill will also make clear that Title IX prohibits men from participating in women's sports, and we will protect the rights of parents from being forced to allow their minor child to assume a gender which is new and an identity without the parent's consent. The identity.
I think that's enough. This is what happens when good people do nothing. The last 4 years, our world has been turned upside down. Craziness has taken over, and we're taking back our city, our schools, and we're taking back our families. We're going to protect children.
Thank you. Your 5 minutes is up. Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Our next speaker is Carolyn Raft.
Good evening, council members and staff and audience. Denise, I'm going to miss your beautiful face sitting up there on that council. It's been a pleasure knowing you and calling you my friend. I've known you for a long time now. I was happy that and very proud that I was one of the people that appointed you on the council. And the things that you have done and your involvement in the city is just wonderful. You're a very outstanding person. So at least as a friend, I'll still get to see you, but I just won't get to see you sitting up there, and that's going to be a sad place, okay, unfortunately. So I wish you all the luck, and I know that you've got plans and you're going to enjoy your life and you're going to continue. And you're going to do some of the things you have been able to do for a while. So good luck to you, you and your family, and we all love you very much.
Thank you.
All right, next is Bruce Culp. Oh, sorry, I thought
That's
you
for
said
the public hearing.
comment.
Okay.
Okay, we'll wait then.
Okay, now we are done with public comment, and we will go to the public hearings. We have 2 items on the agenda for as a public hearing. As you know, at the last meeting, the council adopted the general plan update and a general plan land use map, as well as the climate action plan. The council also conducted the first reading of the 2 zoning ordinances implementing the land use plan, thereby ensuring that there is consistency between the zoning and the general plan as required by the Housing and Community Development Department. So we have now before us the second reading of the 2 zoning ordinances which implement the land use and the regulatory goals of the general plan update. And as you know, of those in the room, we spent probably a good 2-3 hours on this item. And I'm going to, at this time, open up the public hearing regarding ordinance number 20, well, we'll start with ordinance number 24-1. Well, I can do a public hearing on both, am I correct? Yeah. We're going to open up the public hearing on both ordinances, and I'm going to ask the city clerk if she has any speakers.
I just have Bruce Culp from the
Okay.
audience.
Bruce, come on up.
First of all, I wanted to say thank you, Denise, for your many good years of service here. I really appreciate it. Didn't get a chance to say that publicly, so thank you so much. I was in just about every meeting that was involved in the public for the general plan update. I was really proud of all the citizens and the residents that came to every one of these meetings and put their hearts and their ideas and their great efforts into this whole general plan. I've read through the whole general plan, and it's an excellent document that represents every single resident who loves this city, their input, their caring, their ideas, their great efforts. I saw Bill Rue at many of these meetings together too. He put a lot of his efforts and ideas into this. I know Denise has been in a few, Carissa, Manny was there many times, Mr. Trey, Mike Diaz. I mean, I could go all around this room. Ed was at every single one of those, and that guy with the long beard, he was leading us through this whole thing. It was a wonderful, wonderful job you did. So I want to thank you for putting together all those presentations, letting the residents give their input. So this document is a love of the residents to this city, giving back their ideas, their great efforts, everything that they wanted in a general plan. So voting for this plan means that you support the residents, you support the city employees and their ideas, and all the folks that came together to put that document together and put in all their efforts and all their ideas and their caring. Residents that worked on this really dedicated their time and efforts to make every word of that general plan something that they wanted in this city. So I don't know if there's anybody voting against it, but I think that would be ridiculous because you're basically giving a middle finger to the residents of this city. So anyways, I support this general plan. I hope you all vote yes. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other speakers at this time? If not, I'm going to close the public hearing. So as I mentioned before, we have now before us the second reading of the two zoning ordinances which implement the land use regulatory goals of the general plan update. Having that we entertained discussions on these ordinances at the last meeting, I'm going to move for adoption of ordinance number 24-1009, which is repealing North Montclair specific plan, adopting the Arrow Highway mixed use specific plan. Can I get a second?
Second.
Second by Councilmember Johnson. And we'll go ahead and vote. That's adopted 3-2. And then I'll make a motion on the second ordinance, which is move for approval of adoption of ordinance number 24-1010, adopting the Montclair Quarters Code, amending portions of Title 11 of the Montclair Municipal Code, repealing the Hope Boulevard specific plan and the Montclair Parkway Place specific plan, and updating the official zoning map of the city of Montclair.
I'll second.
Thank you. I have some speakers. Is there speakers?
I touched my button.
Councilmember, you have something to say?
Yes. I should have pushed the button before I made the last vote. Yes, I was at most of the meetings for this, and I understand a great deal of it. My issue comes in the fact that we have a climate action plan, and if you're going to have one, it should include something about drought. This doesn't have enough about drought tolerant, doesn't have enough about the drought. We can't have a city of lush green landscaping when we're in the middle of a drought. Water is at a premium no matter what we do. We talk about recycled water. Recycled water will not do everything for us. I think we need more with drought tolerant. I also have an issue with narrowing many of our streets to one lane to accommodate bicycles. Bicycles have a place, but I also see that many residents have to use that street to park their cars. Many residents back out of their driveways. Many of our streets need to be at the levels they are to accommodate traffic. Many of our residents who go to another city to work or go into other areas to recreate. So that's my reason for voting no. I don't think we need all these one-lane streets in town. I think if anything, we need to make it easier to flow the traffic so people can get from one place to another. Thank you.
Okay, and just clarification, the climate action plan was already adopted at the last meeting, so just make sure you understand that. Okay, Councilman Lopez.
Yes, echoing some of the concerns my colleague just said. But before I do that, I did mark on the plan several pages of concern that I had questions. And with respect to the page stating Montclair's green infrastructure and addressing the inclusion of the San Antonio Creek Channel, there is a comment in it that says that there would be that these main thoroughfares, Mission, Arrow Highway, and Ramona, would act as neighborhood connectors. But in looking at the map, with respect to greenway access, and it mentions schools, most of the schools are to the far east in our city of this trail. So which schools, other than the ones that are real close to the trail, which are, I think, 3 out of 10 or 11 in the city, will benefit from the trail? That was a red flag to me. Further, I have an overall question with respect to Mission Boulevard, Arrow Highway, Ramona, and Central Avenue. If I understand the plan correctly, adding additional walking space, biking space, and additional landscaping, trees,
Right.
are we not going to narrow those streets? There is a section in here that does say, it will be, this is regarding Central Avenue, it will be redesigned to have 4 traffic lanes with parallel parking, which we already have now, 2 lanes on in each direction, and a median that keeps all the healthy existing pine trees. That's fine. But with this document and all its conceptual components basically implements new zoning changes that don't necessarily allow for the property owner to include what they see best. It severely restricts property owners now because of new design categories, labeling of corridors and thoroughfares, and then some of them looping over into other streets. So where in this document is it not restrictive, and where in this document will it not narrow Arrow, Ramona, Central, or Monte Vista, or what have you? That's what I want to get at. And if I can get answers to that, perhaps maybe I'll change my vote this time around. But I still have reservations.
Okay, first of all, just clarification, City Attorney, the general plan's been adopted, am I correct? Just for clarification?
Yes, the general plan was adopted by the council at the last meeting.
Okay,
So I
so,
think these concerns expressed by Councilmember Lopez relate to the general plan. So what's before the council tonight, well, are the 2 zoning ordinances, one of which you've already approved. The second one is the corridors plan, which is just implementing it's the zoning to be consistent with what the council has already adopted as a general plan update.
well, nevertheless, is there any staff member who can answer the questions of Councilmember Lopez? Anybody want to come up and, or
Well,
consultant, or
yeah,
add?
Mr. Mayor, if I may, in addition, in addressing the thoroughfares comment, I do need to comment that the general plan is a visionary document. Nothing in there is specifically mandated. If there is a street project, it will come before the city council. And your recommendations related to the design of that street will be obviously part of us going forward in relation to any development project like Arrow Highway. Staff comes up with the design concepts and brings it forward to the city council for your consideration. While the general plan document envisions these pedestrian corridors that address bicycles and pedestrian routes, as well as mixing them in with bicycles to create a safe streets program, that is a vision component of the general plan document. And it comes forward to the city council and individual projects for the council to consideration at the relevant time. So I think that addresses the issue related to the thoroughfares. That also goes to the second point about Mission Boulevard and the addition of the walking and the landscaping and other elements related to narrowing the streets. Again, these are design concepts that the general plan discusses. But as the city moves forward over the next 20 years to bring forward specific projects, that will be for the council to consider at that time. If the council thinks that implementing a complete streets program on a particular street is inappropriate at that particular time, for example, Benson Avenue, which will be coming forward to the city council, where it's been expressed in the past, taking it down to 2 streets to 1 street, or 1 lane either direction, is not in a particular council member's perspective appropriate. That would be taken into consideration when that project is brought forward. One of the comments related to that particular street is that vehicles would have a difficult time exiting their driveways. In fact, actually, this makes it more convenient for them to exit the driveways because you have 1 street, 1 lane either direction, and then you have the bicycle lane as well as the parking lanes that actually give them more maneuverable area in which to leave their driveways, as opposed to 2 lanes either direction on a particular street. So I think that addresses that particular component. As far as the water issue, The Climate Action Plan does have a section in it which addresses staff-generated concepts and ideas about the drought and conserving water. What the general plan doesn't do is it doesn't talk about state mandates, not only in relation to water, but a lot of other elements where we are already directed by state law as how we are to respond to specific design elements. Water is one of those, and while the general plan doesn't address each one of the laws that have been passed by the state of California in relation to drought, we as staff recognize what those laws are, what those mandates are. We are following those. But there is a section in the Climate Action Plan that specifically goes to addressing what we as staff are recommending in relation to addressing drought tolerance. In fact, I think there are 2 or 3 pages in the Climate Action Plan that specifically go to that point. Drought-related issues are constantly evolving in the state of California, and we will always comply with what the directions are from the state of California, what Monte Vista Water District is recommending, and what we as staff believe are appropriate in designing projects in the city of Montclair as we bring them forward to the city council. And I believe the last issue addressed by Councilmember Lopez related to zoning changes and property owners. In fact, what we're hearing back from property owners is that they're welcoming the changes being proposed in the general plan because they're giving them greater flexibility and latitude on how they're going to potentially develop their properties. In fact, just last week, I was at Metro Auto Group, and the owner of Metro Auto, of Honda dealership, saw that I was there and came and talked with me and told me that he owns property on Hope Boulevard that was the former Mercedes-Benz business that you might recall he operated back in the 1980s. There is an adjacent property to that property that is now, I believe, occupied by Enterprise Rent-A-Car that is a vacant parcel with no improvements. He is working with that property owner so that he can come up with a mixed-use property design in compliance with what is being recommended by the general plan so that he can create greater opportunities not only for himself, but for the city of Montclair. And this is what we're hearing from property owners throughout the community, that the general plan recommendations that are presented to you for your consideration are actually enabling them to do more with their properties, not restrict them. And again, I go to the point that the general plan is a visionary document. It creates avenues of opportunities not only for the city of Montclair, but for the residents and the property owners of the city of Montclair that want to pursue different development opportunities that aren't currently available to them under current general plan design elements. Yes, there are some relabeling of zones in the zoning element of the general plan that is for your consideration this evening, but it adds and complements to what they're able to do. So I think that is basically staff's response to all of the questions that have been asked this evening.
Mr. Starr, I appreciate you answering or providing clarification on perhaps some of my comments. Let's talk about Central specifically. And you stated that the plan is a visionary plan, therefore not mandated. However, I would say, though, that staff in your office will rely heavily on its components to give guidance on how respective community development and public works will then act. So I think it carries a lot more weight than just a non-binding document that we're asked to be adopted. There will be a lot of weight given to this document to proceed for the next 20 years or less. And I wouldn't say it's as easy to change just at a whim. There's a process, a laborious process that would have to go through before it comes back to us. But I'll just ask this plainly. Does the plan include proposals to shorten Central Avenue?
When you say shorten, do you mean narrow?
Narrow.
No, in fact, it would maintain the 2 lanes either direction, and in some areas, there are 3 lanes north of the I-10 freeway that I think are being recommended. And they're not on Central Avenue, there is not an inclusion of bicycle lane because of the traffic on Central Avenue, so that is not envisioned on Central Avenue. I do want to point out that when I say that there are no mandates, the zoning element that you are considering does create zoning requirements related to properties throughout the city of Montclair. So in that sense, it creates a mandate envelope. But that envelope creates greater flexibility and opportunities from our perspective for the property owners in the city of Montclair. In addition, I want to point out that during the course of the next 20 years, the council is going to have many opportunities to look at zoning changes as different property owners request specific zoning changes for their particular parcel because they want to do something differently. And if it's compatible with the objectives and the goals of the city council and the policies that they set out, the council has every opportunity to reconsider those particular zoning components to fit the needs of the property owner. And in the course of the last 20 years, the council has done that a number of times where they have modified zoning to allow a different kind of use. In fact, the Community Development Department has the opportunity to come before the City Council and the Planning Commission, if that is the venue that is appropriate at that particular time, to make recommendations to the Planning Commission to create opportunities for modification and allowing a particular kind of business that otherwise would not be permissible. And so these are the life and breadth of the planning process. It's not in concrete, but it constantly changes and evolves to create opportunities to better the community. And I think under the current directorship of Community Development Director Michael Diaz, the City Council has seen that on a number of occasions where recommendations have been made under the existing general plan to modify zoning provisions to allow that. And there's every belief that that will be a part of the process going forward.
And if I may add to Mr. Starr's answers to your specific question, I actually want to clarify that on Central Avenue, Mills Avenue, Mission Boulevard, and Ramona, there will be no narrowing of the streets at all. And I don't recall seeing any of the cross sections in the plan that shows it that way. If anything, it remains the same. And it varies. The right-of-way varies along all of those streets. So, but there will be no narrowing, I can assure you of that.
And just to elucidate that point, we will be bringing to the City Council in the near future a design in relation to Moreno Street. But in dealing with the design of Moreno Street, we had to address the design of Central Avenue in that particular section, as well as the east side of Moreno Street on the east side of Central Avenue. And while the plan may envision the layout in one particular way, in practical efforts to design Moreno Street and work with CIM Group in relation to a project that they have submitted to the city, which they are currently doing a redesign on, and that project proposes as many as 8 stories. They are also asking for an acquisition of right-of-way on Moreno Street. So we have to work with the property owner to redesign Moreno Street, but also work it in a way that it configures with the east side of Moreno Street so that there is a proper alignment and that the left and right turns onto Central Avenue, as well as the left and right turns off of Central Avenue onto Moreno Street in both a west and easterly direction, comply with what is necessary for the flow of traffic and the increase of residents in that area. So again, it's a living document, it's an organic document, it makes recommendations, but we, each step of the way, have to design elements that will work for a particular section that we're working on and bringing it back to the City Council for your consideration and your approval.
Okay, anything else?
Can I make one comment about the zoning?
Mike.
The corridors was specifically designed to not penalize anybody who has existing development on their sites. So nobody's being forced to change anything. from what's legally permitted at this current in time. What the code does now is provide some flexibility to reduce setbacks so that we can accommodate some of the ideals that we're trying to get for those properties who wish to do that at whatever particular time comes for them that makes sense for them. So for example, the last project we just did for Dutch Brothers, and that setting of that building next to, almost close to the street would not have been possible without having to go through a major variance process, which we had to do because under the current code, the setback is 75 feet. That doesn't work for any of those. So for all these years that I've been here, we must have done 10, 15 variances all the time just to accommodate the best use of those properties along Central Avenue in particular. So the code section, the corridors and the code's development standards that are in there are designed to be just a little more flexible for those times when people want to redo their property from the beginning, from the ground up, so to speak, or develop a site, a vacant property that may still be around on one of those streets. So the idea is for flexibility, and the idea is to allow anybody who has a building that's already set it, and if they want to make improvements, we'll applaud that and approve any improvements that make it for a better streetscape for everybody. So there's a lot of buildings that need to be updated around town, and they'll be able to continue to do that when the time's right for them.
And one last thing that I want to add is that the collection of documents and ordinances that have been submitted to the City Council, some you've already taken action on, others you're considering this evening, these function as a local policy guideline for the City of Montclair. And without those documents in place, from the housing element to the total general plan, we then become a creature of subject to state policy. State policy will guide this city council as opposed to the city council having an opportunity to implement local policies to shape the city of Montclair. That's just the rule. If you don't have that housing element in place, if you don't have the components of the general plan in place, then the state says, we take over and we tell you how you're to design your community unless you have these policies in place. And I oftentimes have heard expressions from members of the city council that the last thing they want is the state telling them how to design their community, what they are supposed to do. This is your document for you designing this community. Plus, again, the document gives you flexibility forward over the course of the next 20 years or until the next general plan is adopted for you to shape that community as opposed to strictly relying on state mandates.
Okay, Councilman Lopez, you have anything else?
Yeah, and throughout the whole discussion, I'm paraphrasing because I was trying to write while you were talking, Mr. Diaz. The proposed plan would not penalize existing property owners for any existing development. Well, how did you phrase that? What did you say?
Yeah, it doesn't require anybody to make any changes to their existing properties as they stand. So if they're legally established both as a structure and building or from a zoning standpoint, a use that's there, they can continue to operate as is in perpetuity. It's when somebody wants to do something different or wants to consolidate properties and do something like mixed use, which you can't do now under our current code, pursue something like that, then the design standards that are in and development standards that are in those documents will help guide that particular development process, and that's what it's intended to do for. But if somebody had an existing building and they wanted to paint their building, they wanted to remodel it, to fix it, they can continue to do those under the normal circumstances which we always operate under. I do want to say one thing about the drought tolerant issue too, and that is we are doing everything that the state requires us to do from the water quality as well as drought tolerant water conservation measures that they passed down to us. There hasn't been a major project in town where we have not observed that and had to put those into play and require the landscape architects design appropriate landscapes for the buildings that meet the state's requirements. So we do that all the time, every day, whenever we're doing projects. So I can't think of a property right now where you've got functionless grass that doesn't serve any purpose anymore. That's not something we've been able to do for years, and we'll continue to work at making water conservation a major priority for us.
Heiser, you have something?
Mayor, I made a 2-hour trek to get here, so I want to just suggest maybe a couple of points. On drought tolerant, your city is the leader in providing drought tolerant. You have Monta Vista as a training pod. We looked at it, number of cities come visited, number of kids come visited to study what is happening at Monta Vista and in the demonstration garden that they have. That has been fundamentally incorporated into the general plan, into the variety of documents. But I want to suggest to you and to the council that this is more than just drought tolerant. Drought tolerant is just one element of this long document, hundreds and hundreds of policies that were developed over a 6-year period. This is the very first time we are hearing an issue on drought tolerant being an inadequate measure of addressing in the general plan. I want to also submit to you that give it a chance. We're here for a year. Things are changing. State regulation on drought tolerance is changing. The transportation networks, the way we travel today is changing. We may be not relying on just 1 or 2 options that are available. We need to rely on a whole range of options, which includes bicycle, which includes walking, which includes a variety of microtransits. This is the future. And what the general plan does is it encourages all of those options without ruling them out. And then through the implementation process, through the council decisions on individual cases, through the planning commission review, you have a number of safeguards already in place that allow you to sift through those options and decide saying, okay, within this range, this fits Montclair best. So you have a number of opportunities, including a year review when we come back. And if there are additional things and additional comments, particularly on the climate action plan or on certain streets, we welcome those and we'll make those changes. I'm committing to certainly review any comments that you have on how we can strengthen, how we can add more language to encourage and to require drought tolerant in our policies, in our ordinances, and to explore options available for streets so that they serve all needs of our community, not just particularly driving. So I want to suggest there is enough safeguard already in place in your processes, including examining your entire general plan, the climate action plan, and all of the ordinances at an annual review next year this time. Thank you.
One final question to either Mr. Diaz or City Manager, or if they yield to you, sir, then by all means. Marijuana establishments, by rezoning and reclassifying codes and whatnot, where in this, because I didn't see it, doesn't mean that it's not there, where in this is the codes allowing for future marijuana establishments?
Not being here, this is a separate item that has to come to the City Council, and the consultants are working on it, and hopefully we'll be bringing that to you forward sometime during the first quarter of 2025. Part of that ordinance will include the zoning related to where marijuana or cannabis businesses will be allowed. Now, I want to inform you that the current process in relation to the permitting of cannabis businesses is not what it has been. Businesses or communities in the past have used a lottery method. They've used a vetting method based on merit. And the current industry trend based on all of the litigation over the past decade in relation to cannabis businesses is that these methods are not working for cities. They're spending more money on fighting lawsuits than they are in addressing implementation of an effective commercial cannabis program in their communities. So it's very likely that the recommendation coming before the City Council will be much more lax in that a business will apply and get the permit that they're asking for, and zoning will be a part of that, But again, probably more flexible than what it would have been in the past, but that's not part of this process.
Thank you, sir.
All right, Councilmember Rue.
Yes, I'll first touch on, again, drought tolerant. What I heard tonight is for many portions of this plan, we don't want the state telling us what to do. We don't want their standards. We're going to set our own standards. Yet when it comes to drought tolerant, it's, well, we'll just do whatever the state tells us. The Chino Basin Water Conservation District may be a model garden, but certainly that model isn't working here in the city. Not when we have pieces of this plan that essentially have lush green landscaping. If you want a model city, let's look at Indian Wells. It's an affluent city. I know that's important to many on this council, that affluent is important. Not to me, but it is to others. It's an affluent city, and they have quite a bit of drought tolerant, far more than we have. I suggest anybody who's interested, they can drive out there and look at it. I think we need far more drought tolerant than less. And I think it should be required for every home. We need water for our young people to drink, for our schools, for our hospitals. The bulk of the water used in California is in outdoor landscaping. We know that. So let's start putting in drought tolerant. It seems for drought, we only want the state standard. We won't set our own model standard. So I don't understand that. Second of all, as far as bicycle lanes are concerned, I drive probably every day more than many people do. I see bicycle lanes all over. I don't see anybody using them. When it's 110 degrees, nobody's using a bicycle lane. When it's pouring rain, nobody is using a bicycle lane. I see many bicycle lanes. I can point to them on Foothill, on Bonita, on many other streets throughout this region, whether you're in Rancho Cucamonga or whether you're in Azusa. I don't see people using them. I see people annoyed with them when it's near their home and they have to back out of their driveway. As far as more people bicycling and walking, well, I can't speak for every resident of this city. The vast majority of our residents are commuters. They commute out of this city every day. Look at the freeways, look at the roads. I have an office in Glendora and one in Rancho Cucamonga. There would be no possible way I could bicycle to either one of them. I certainly couldn't walk. Maybe if I get up at 2 in the morning, I might make it to Rancho Cucamonga, oh, maybe by 7. I might make it to Glendora by 8. The buses are not effective to what I have to do. I might be able to take a bus to one of those offices, but then when I'm there, I have to figure out how do I get to my appointments. So I don't know if bicycling and walking is going to be an example. You can bicycle and walk if you want to right now. For anybody who says it's not walkable, I challenge them. About a month ago, I had to have my car repaired. It was a Sunday. The only place open is Firestone, right on Central in Montclair. Dropped the car off. Walked back to my home. They called me late in the day, 4:35, said, Mr. Yu, your car's ready. Okay, give me some time. And I walked back up there. I could walk. I don't understand what we mean by walkable. I think what we mean by walkable is making a choice between a car or a bicycle, a car or walking, and they shouldn't be mutually exclusive. We can do both. I don't understand the push for bicycle lanes when they're not being used in most cities. If anybody wants to bicycle in the city, they can. We have bicycle lanes in this city. I don't see them being used. So that's the basis for what I'm doing. And again, I don't understand that. When it comes to one portion of the plan, we want to do better than the state, set our own. We don't want the state telling us what to do. But when it comes to drought tolerant, oh, well, we'll just follow whatever the state tells us. What is the fear in doing a very high standard of drought tolerant everywhere? I don't know. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Very quickly, in the interest of time, over the many years that I've been around and we've looked at these plans, it seems to me that I finally understood one day that these plans are not for me. So I only live a few blocks from here, and I've been hanging around City Hall for 30 years, and I've never walked here once. And if you ever see me on a bicycle, it'll be in your dreams. It's not going to happen. But these plans are not for me. They're for the generations that come after us. So many of us who are baby boomers, we knew at 15 we were chomping at the bit. We couldn't wait to get our license. But now some of these folks, that are in their late teens and early 20s, they don't want to drive. They want to do other things. And so these plans, which are concept, this is not in stone. This is a concept of what might happen over the next 20 years. And to drill down the specifics would be comparable to saying, what color will the petals on the daisies be in March 14th in 2026? We don't know. When we get there, then we'll know. This is a concept that we're working on that's for not just necessarily for us, but for the generations that come after us, because they're the ones who want to walk and bike and do those things. And I drive every day, and no matter what city I'm in, I'm always seeing people on bicycles, and I think, good for you, I'll never do it. So it is going to be good for the people in the future, and if they don't want to do it, they don't have to do it. Everybody has their choice, but not everybody, like me or like Councilman Baru, not everyone has to have a car. You've heard me say, yeah, I understand walkable and transportation and all that, but I've never seen a train pull up in front of Stater Brothers. So yes, of course, I'm always going to have a car, but the generations after me don't think like that. So actually, this plan, which is a concept of what will happen for 20 years out, is not necessarily, it's not for me, and it's not for people who are like me, it's for the generations to come. Mr. Mayor, that concludes my comments.
Well, thank you. You know, the reason why we're here today is, I think around 2016, there was a couple housing projects proposed on Hope Boulevard. At that time, I had concerns like, why are we building housing projects on Hope Boulevard when it's zoned commercial? How does that make any sense? How does that sit with the entire city? So I think at that time, Ed, had a discussion. We decided it was time to update the general plan of the city of Montclair. And so that's why we're here today. You know, this is a document, obviously, it's gonna be a 30, 40-year document. Yes, there's many changes will happen in this document as time goes by. Yes, when a project is submitted to the city, you know, those projects have to come to the Planning Commission and City Council when there's a great deal of changes. Even though it's within the specifics of the general plan, this council still has the opportunity to deny those projects. I don't think it's appropriate, or this council can make changes to the general plan or the zoning codes as well. What I want to say that I believe is that cities that plan appropriately, have good general plans like this, you'll see those cities, and there are examples of cities around us that have done very well, have the quality of life, have all the good uses, planning for the future, planning for traffic, planning for housing, all the good stuff. Cities that don't plan, you can see the conditions those cities are in too. And part of that too is I think cities that have good leadership, good staff members, those are the cities that people want to reside in, want to be in, have a business in. Cities don't do that, don't have the plan, don't have good leadership. You can see where those cities are at as well. I won't mention any cities. You know, I met with Randall Lewis about a month ago. We had dinner, and he had a lot of good things to say about our city of Montclair. And he said, you guys are doing stuff to prepare your city for the future. He's talking about the stuff that's happening in North Montclair, bringing in the mixed uses, the you know, the horizontal buildings, trying to get retail. You have a transit system up there in North Montclair. I told him that, you know, we're also doing the general plan for the entire city, talking about that mixed use component. He says, you guys, and I wish he was here because he'll be here, he'll be complimenting this general plan if Randall Lewis was here today. One of the things about this general plan, it's a program EIR. And if you don't know what an EIR is, you probably heard of CEQA, and that's probably, for the developer, when they hear the word CEQA, you know how developers react to CEQA. So when you tell a developer we have a program EIR general plan for the city, you don't realize how the regulations are less, am I correct? Less regulations, less delays to implement a project because we have a program EIR. That doesn't mean we have a project EIR if the project is significant and requires that level of review, but we have a program EIR. That means two things. It makes it easier for us to get development done in Montclair. Second thing, that tells the developer community that we're serious about doing stuff here in Montclair, and they're going to want to come to Montclair when they see that program EIR. So I really want to compliment the public first, because this exercise started in Started in, prior to I was mayor, I believe, so prior to 2018 is when this process began. That's when we hired Kaiser's consulting firm to come in. We had many public meetings that all of us, all members of this council participated along with staff and went to that branch. Obviously, from there, we had 3 workshops with this council, with the planning commission. There was a lot of questions answered. I know I spent a lot of time, staff too, going through this, asking questions here in the building, going through stuff with staff myself, challenging them on the general plan and making sure it's the right document for the city of Montclair. I want to compliment our staff for all the hard work in there. I know Mike Diaz, I know Mikey Fuentes, obviously Monica. I'm not sure who else. Christine Caldwell, there she is. I suspect Rosemary had a little input in it as well. Maybe Xavier, I don't know Xavier if he had, I'm just joking. But I just want to compliment staff. I know how much hard work this is to go through. This is my second time as a council member having gone through a general plan. And obviously want to compliment the consultant. When we went out for an RFP, we wanted to make sure we had a high-quality consultant that really understand the future of cities, where cities are going in the future, and be able to capture that expertise as we're developing this general plan. So I am, a lot of the stuff, I won't be here as mayor. A lot of the stuff's going to happen after I leave this seat. I don't know who will be in this seat, but we're planning the future of the city. We're planning the quality of life of the city. I think most residents in the business community will be very happy with this document. And I know we have a motion on the table, and I think it's time to vote. So let's get the electronic vote. Okay, that's adopted 3-2. And we will now go on to the, we have to read by number and title.
Okay, so we have 2. The first one is ordinance number 24-1009, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Montclair repealing the North Montclair Specific Plan and adopting the Arrow Highway Mixed Use District Specific Plan file number 2024-55, and ordinance number 24-1010, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Montclair adopting the Corridors Code, amending portions of Title 11, Zoning and Development of the Montclair Municipal Code, repealing the Holt Boulevard Specific Plan and the Montclair Parkway Place Specific Plan, and updating the official zoning map of the City of Montclair.
Okay, great. We have consent calendar. Anybody on my left want to pull something? Nobody on my left? How about my right?
Mr. Mayor, a real quick question with respect to Charlie number 1, C1, and then a recusal on C2.
All right.
C like Charlie.
Okay, so C1, go ahead.
With respect to the memorandums of these bargaining units of ours, we're adopting these contracts tonight, December of '24. They state, though, that they would go into effect, in theory, July 1. Are these employees in these bargaining units receiving presently a 4%, 3% pay during this 6-month period?
Yes, they've already received those salary increasements. The Personnel Committee approved the signature agreements that allowed those to go forward. The City Council is merely taking the formal action now to approve the revisions to the memorandums of understanding.
Thank you for that. That was my question.
Okay, so let's have a motion for the consent calendar with the exception of item C2.
I'll make a motion for the consent calendar with the exception of item C2.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mayor Pro Tem Johnson.
Mr. Mayor, let me explain my reason for the recusal. This is regarding item C2, which is a contract with the Blaze and Associates for grant writing services. I presently have a contract with a competitor of this business, or company rather. Even though I have not received any income in the past year from them, I'm still removing myself from the vote.
Okay, again, this is approve the consent calendar with the exception of item C2. That'll be a separate vote. So go ahead and vote. Okay, that is adopted 5-0. Mayor Pro Tem Johnson, would you like to make the next motion? Be item C2. Okay, is there a second to that motion?
I will second.
Okay, again, Councilmember Lopez will recuse himself. All, please vote. All right. Okay, that's adopted 4-0. Okay. Okay, now we go to communication. I go down to the city manager. Have anything, Mr. City Manager Starr?
Well, I just want to reiterate everybody else's gratitude to Denise Johnson, Mayor Pro Tem Denise Johnson, for all of her service to the Montclair community. And I wish her well in everything that she does after this date. And I also want to extend my congratulations and thanks to our Fire Chief, Dave Pohl, for all of the years of service that he has committed to the city of Montclair. As I said the other day to Dave, there's 10 years that separates us. I started 10 years before him, and he's probably finishing 10 years before me, so maybe not 10 years before me. But in any event, it's been a pleasure working with Dave during all of those years. And we've developed a good friendship and a lot of camaraderie between Dave and the staff at the City Hall, as well as within the department that he manages, has helped to provide the Montclair community with an excellent fire department, and I look forward to all of the improvements that Dave has initiated going forward. I will also be naming Ryan Derrick as our acting fire chief until such time that I have opportunity to further evaluate the department and his management of the department going forward. And I look forward to probably making the recommendation that he assume the responsibility as fire chief. But Ryan has learned a lot from Dave, and I think that that's a good thing for the city of Montclair, because under Dave's leadership, he's not only provided excellent guidance to members of the Montclair Fire Department, but he's provided a sense of humor, a sense of personal gratitude to the employees, not from the perspective that he is their fire chief, but from the perspective that he is one of them. There's great camaraderie within the fire department as it stands today. And I think that's all a direct result of Dave's leadership over the course of the last number of years. Whether or not he was the fire chief or the assistant fire chief, particularly during the time when we had a public safety director, Dave was always there to provide the guidance to the public safety director, the recommendations necessary to move the Montclair Fire Department forward. And when Dave became the chief, and independent of that process, he clearly demonstrated the opportunities to continue to make the Montclair Fire Department a better organization, not only for the Montclair community, but for the region, and certainly in providing any necessary services to the state through strike team support services. In fact, we are getting a new engine from the state. Has it already arrived? Wednesday, we'll have a brand-new engine from the state in support of not only the Montclair community, but in relation to our strike teams. On top of that, we have a new fire engine that is due in sometime next year. And then
early next year, right?
Yes, and then we are currently working on the funding for a tiller truck. So
Yeah.
one would say that within a 5-year period of time, as a result of the efforts Dave has put forward, as well as Ryan Derrick, we will have 3 major pieces of rolling stock serving the Montclair community. And for that alone, Dave deserves considerable gratitude from the Montclair community. Thank you, Dave, for everything.
And I skipped City Attorney Robbins because she didn't have any closed session items, but I'm going to give her an opportunity to say something.
No closed session. That's my Christmas gift to the 5 of you or 6 of you. But I'd like to just wish everyone a Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays and New Year's. Thank you. And I will echo Ed's comments about Dave. So congratulations. And we look forward to Ryan trying to fill your shoes. So thank you.
Thank you. I have a, obviously in your agenda packet is committee appointments, and we'll be doing that at the January 21st meeting, so that's for your information only. I want to just recognize staff for the Dashing Through Montclair and also the, I don't know, the Christmas tree lighting ceremony. There was a, thank you. And so I know there was a lot of hard work for both events. And the lighting event, there was a lot of people there. I have never seen that many people there for that event. And so I was pleasantly surprised and also at the same time very happy. That much participation for the Montclair community residents to come out. So I'm going to again compliment staff for both events. Very long, a lot of hard work, and thank you very much. So I'd like to just again end to wish everybody a Merry Christmas, Happy New Year's, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Holidays. Again, spend time with your family. I will go with Councilmember Rue.
Okay.
Sorry?
Mr.
I
Mayor,
thought you'd skip this.
before we get into that, we do have item number 11.
We'll get to that.
Okay, because before
We're
I
coming to
make
that.
comments, I thought we would adjourn to that.
Unless you guys want to get sworn in tonight, I got the city clerk here.
No,
We
I
can do it
meant-
tonight.
No, what I'm talking about
I'm
is,
pretty sure Denise will be
if
okay
it's,
with it.
if we're adjourning it to tomorrow, I thought we needed to do that before we got into
Yeah, we're getting to
comments.
that. That's coming.
First of all, yes, the Christmas tree lighting was very, very nice, as was Dashing Through Montclair. I do hear from the residents, they like the fact that it still has a hometown feel. In some other, and I, for work, have a large region I cover. Some of them are very professionalized, which may be nice, but I think our residents like the fact that it is still a very hometown feeling with it. They like the fact that it's people they know. CAC Commissioner Darlene Ferraro, along with CAC Commissioner Lori Milheiser and I, worked giving out cookies and hot chocolate. Most of the people were very nice. There was a little bit of wait at times, but that's okay. Families understood that. And it was really appreciated. I love the staff who dedicated their time to doing that. A lot of staff were in the kitchen helping, and I appreciate what they did. It was very well done. I like the fact that, as I said, we keep this as a local hometown type tradition. If it's too professionalized, I think we lose a lot of the spontaneity with the community. As I look forward to next year, I hope that there are many good things for our residents, for our families. Many of our families are struggling, and I hope we'll always remember them, especially at Christmas time. We have families who, I can tell you, probably will not eat on Christmas, and we need to remember them. As someone who is I consider a person of faith, I don't like to always bring it into the council, I view this time of year as very special. This is a time of year when we celebrate the birth of a homeless child in a manger. They wandered across the desert. No one would take them in. Let's think about that in our personal lives. Let's think about how we treat the homeless and look at the homeless. No one wakes up one morning and says, gee, I want to be homeless. I want us also to remember the Holy Family and their flight into Egypt. Think about that. There are many people today who have to flee to other countries, to other areas. Let us think about that. And when we have an immigrant who's arrived from another country, wherever that may be, let us treat them with the same dignity and respect that we would treat the Holy Family. For those of you who will be with family and friends, I hope it is a wonderful one. I hope your Christmas is beautiful. For those of you who may be separated for whatever reason from family and friends, many of our military are serving overseas and will not be with their families. We have other people who are overseas for many other reasons and may not be with their families, and we have some who simply cannot afford to be with their families. May we keep those in our thoughts, our prayers, and however we observe this holiday season. Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, and may 2025 be very good to you and your family.
Thank you. Councilmember Lopez.
Yes, thank you. Folks, I really wasn't anticipating this meeting being this long, but I promise you tomorrow night's meeting will be very short. So if you want to come back tomorrow, short meeting. Dave, I recall, I think I met you 1992, maybe 94. I was 16, 18 years old then. I just turned 38, so that was 30 years ago, 32 years ago. It seems like yesterday, but you were just a firefighter at the time. I believe even Steve Hall was in the department at the time. Gosh, it's a lot of names. Mark Rickman, that I bring back as well. It's been a pleasure knowing you and meeting you. Congrats on the successive career you've had here with Montclair. Nowadays, a lot of firemen start with one city and they move to maybe one or two other agencies. So I thank you for staying here so long and breaking the mold, if you will, and going against the grain with respect to making a commitment for so long to one agency and its people. You are to be commended, sir, for that, and I thank you for that. Godspeed, God bless you in your years ahead. Have fun. If you can, don't think about fire for a while, buddy, and just enjoy life, your grandkids and whatnot. And Ryan, in the meantime, came from Kern County and lives quite a ways from here. I'm not going to say where, it's no one's business, but he makes a long commute over here to be here serving our residents. So thank you for that. The rank and file fire department speak very kindly and highly of you. So thank you for the impact you've made in such a short amount of time that you've been here. And it speaks volumes that you're already assuming, at least in the interim, the position that you are in. So thank you, sir. I want to thank, with respect to police and fire, I'll continue. Thank you for the toy drives that you guys conducted on December 6th and 13th at Costco. And that reminds me, I still actually have a toy that I meant to give you guys that I have not given. Should I give it to you guys? Should I give it to the chamber? Should I give it to? Okay, I will bring you the toy over. But thank you, gentlemen, as always, for both departments for doing that. I was told by one of our BCs, we were stopped at the light. He rolled up, I said hi, and he says, I'm just coming from Costco. And he says, man, we had to make like 2 or 3 extra trips from Costco to the fire station because this was the week of the day of the 13th. We had a huge turnout, even more so than the prior Friday. So that was a good indication of the word getting out and the response from the community. So any of the community that is watching this, thank you for doing that. Dancing Through Montclair, again, thank you, Marcia and staff, for putting that on. I will just mention something. You know, sometimes I wonder why these little things kind of get me choked up. At about 5:30, heard the sirens coming. And I was at the house, and so I'm looking out the window. If you know where I live, I can see the corner of Monte Vista and San Bernardino. And I see a neighbor of ours who lives in the middle part of San Bernardino. And she walks her 3 granddaughters, I think maybe one of the grandsons, to the corner. And that resident actually is a cancer survivor who still to this day finds it very painful to walk, but she does it. And she took her grandkids, and she stood there a while because there was a delay. We heard the sirens in the distance, but there was a delay. But she stood there with her kids in the cold, grandkids in the cold. And that just showed me that these residents, when they really don't have much, will cherish something so simple as this. And the fact that she, battling cancer still, I mean, a survivor, but still going through treatment and whatnot, and doesn't have the best, her journey hasn't been the best. She still did it for her kids, grandkids. So thank you guys for something like that, because there's plenty more residents like that in that condition and those that just don't have much. So that's what I took out of that. So thank you for that. Merry Christmas to our staff from every department, from the city manager down to the folks that clean our bathrooms in these buildings and clean the bathrooms in our parks and cut the lawns, put up the Christmas lights on the poles, everything from finance to human services, planning, public works, every department. Thank you so much for the commitment and the time you put in this past year. The time that you're about to take off, may you enjoy it, you deserve it, cherish it. And let's hit the ground running in 2025, but I just want to say thank you. This council member appreciates all of you and all that you do. Happy Hanukkah. I know that starts on Christmas Day, I believe. For those who are of the Jewish faith, happy Hanukkah to you. But let's look forward. Let's put this year behind us and let's look forward to the future. As the Bible says, let's write the vision and make it plain. I wish this was plain, but nonetheless, I'll respect the fact that it posted and passed and will abide by it. Sometimes you may not always win a vote, but you still honor what was passed and you respect it, and that I will do. Anyhow, I appreciate it. And colleagues, thank you for the past year. We may not have always seen eye to eye on many things, and some of us have worked better with others, but nonetheless, it's been an honor and a privilege working with you. Denise, Godspeed, and I'm sure we'll see you around. Thank you all. Merry Christmas.
Councilmember Martinez.
Excuse me. Happy holidays, everyone, and to Fire Chief Pohl, congratulations. And thank you for always being a smiling face and for being so kind. These are very long nights sometimes, and I appreciate you being here and stepping up to the plate when we needed a fire chief. It's been wonderful having you around, and I'm excited for you in your retirement and glad you get to enjoy it. And again, congratulations to you as well, that you'll get to enjoy some line dancing and, hopefully some traveling and vacation and time with the grandkids as well. Thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem Johnson, there's a reason why I'm wearing a pink tie today. Why are you wearing pink today?
I don't know. Why are you wearing a pink tie?
Because honor of you. Pink. No?
Okay.
You're not a pink person?
I am a pink
Okay,
person.
that's why
You see
I'm
me
honor of
in
you
pink all the
today.
time.
It's all yours, Mayor Pro Tem Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have some quick comments. So I was so honored today that so many people honored my work on the city council and for the 6 years that I've been on this council, and it's been my privilege to do that. But I just want to clarify, when my family moved to the city, many of you saw my giant son who was here earlier. He had his first birthday here in Montclair. And we had only lived here a couple of months before we received a letter from Miss Marcia Richter saying, if you're interested in disaster preparedness, show up at this meeting. That was the beginning of 1991. So I showed up at that meeting, and she thought she was going to get rid of me, but I've been hanging around the city of Montclair ever since. And even though, as you may have heard me say earlier, today I will no longer have the title of council person, but I don't need that title to serve this community because I've been serving this community without it, and I will continue to do so in whatever capacity I need to do, even if it's just, it seems like I talk to more people at Stater Brothers than any place else, residents asking questions and wanting things. So, and I'll still be doing that. I'll still be helping those people. So it's not over yet. It's just a little bit different. And then I wanted to talk about the dashing through Montclair. All of you know that I'm very concerned about small businesses because I believe that they're the backbone of our economy. And so, which is why I've been doing all that work on the chamber to help support those businesses. So as we're driving down Holt, I happened to glance up, and because I was up on the flatbed, and I saw a sign that said Jazz Club. And I was like, we don't have a jazz. My eyes play tricks on me that can't possibly be. But I went back the next day just to make sure. And in fact, there is Camilla's Jazz Club on Holt and Vernon. They've been open for 3 months. They are open Thursday through Sunday, and they have live bands every one of those days. So yesterday, my husband and I went there for brunch. So we had brunch and mimosas, and we listened to live music. It is a fantastic little place, and I encourage everyone to go there at least once. So because we need to support that company, that business. We don't want them to say, well, it didn't work in Montclair, so we're leaving. They're booked through 25. They have all kind of different kinds of music, but they're live bands. So please, please, please go and support them because we want them to stay here forever. And lastly, as I say every year, I want to wish all of Montclair, whether it's the residents or the employees, I want to wish all of you Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Feliz Navidad, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy Hanukkah, and I wish you for 2025 more prosperity than you can imagine. Mr. Mayor, that concludes my comments.
Well, thank you very much. We have committee minutes in the agenda. First of all, I want to recognize Pepe in the audience. Pepe, Longtime Montclair resident. He goes to my church, Our Lady of Lourdes. I think it's the first time I've ever seen him at our council meeting. Have you been here before, Pepe? Okay. So next item, we have business items. We have the swearing in elected and re-elected members, selection of mayor pro tem. So I'm going to ask that we continue those items to tomorrow at 6 p.m. on December 17 as an adjourned meeting of this regular city council meeting. Am I correct, Diane? Do we need to vote on that to move it? Denise, can you move that then, what I just said? You're the motioner, making a motion. And then can I get a second?
Second.
Second again. Let's go do electronic vote. And there it is. Okay, that's adopted 5-0, so we'll meet here tomorrow at 6 p.m. at December 17. And with that, this portion of the meeting is now done.